Yeah, I'm stacking them, yeah, yeah.
Riding with country bass, country bass.
Yeah, I'm stacking them, yeah, yeah.
Riding with country bass, country bass.
Yeah, I'm stacking them, yeah, yeah.
Riding with country bass, country bass.
Yeah, I'm stacking them, yeah, yeah.
Riding with country bass, country bass.
Yeah, I'm stacking them, yeah, yeah.
Riding with country bass, country bass.
Yeah, I'm stacking them, yeah, yeah.
Riding with country bass, country bass.
Yeah, I'm stacking them, yeah, yeah.
Riding with country bass, country bass.
Yeah, I'm stacking them, yeah, yeah.
Riding with country bass, country bass.
Stacking them, yeah, yeah.
Feeling like $1 billion. Yeah, couldn't give $1 billion fucks. No, I've been stacking Bitcoin. Yeah, so now your boy is up.
Yeah, yeah.
Pull up in that calendar. I bet you that she coming in more. You can't pay these vibes. Live one life. Only leave the crib for the dollar bill.
Dollar bill down.
Only the crib. I done took the orange pill.
Took it, I'm gone, yeah.
Yeah.
Boom, baby, jumping location. Ooh, yeah, yeah. Ooh, you know that I'm a bad. Girl, I know you want it bad. Ooh, baby, jumping location. Baby, jumping location. Ooh, you know what I'm a bad. Girl, you messing with a bad. Yeah.
I love it when you drop it low.
Bring it up fast, make your body round for me, baby, yeah.
So bend it over, touch your toes.
Girl, bring your body, come to me, run to me.
The way you do it, girl, you're such
Pull
a
up in
pro.
that coloring. I bet that shit coming in, yeah. Yeah, I'm stacking them, yeah, yeah.
Only leave the crib for the dollar bill.
Dollar bill down.
Only the crib. I done took the orange pill.
Took it, I'm gone, yeah.
Yeah.
Boom, baby, jumping location. Ooh, yeah, yeah. Ooh, you know that I'm a bad. Girl, I know you want it bad. Ooh, baby, jumping location. Baby, jumping location. Ooh, you know what I'm a bad. Girl, you messing with a bad.
Yo, 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 what's going on, everybody? Bitcoin Chris checking in yet again, and I am gonna go over the TA, gonna go over a few things here while I'm chilling in the office. So hit that like, share, subscribe, and we're gonna jump right into the Bitcoin price, the Bitcoin price, the Bitcoin price. Not looking too good for Bitcoin, huh? Let's go ahead and zoom out. A few days ago, I called this bear flag to come down to here. We hit, bounced, and came back down. Excuse me. All right. So we're looking at the price. Not looking too good for Bitcoin right now. Actually, it's really good if you are wise enough to understand that a sale on Bitcoin is a blessing. You're only mad about the price going down if you are A, too busy looking at the price in the first place. B, unless you're trading, you shouldn't even be mad at the price going down, right? Because the price going down is your opportunity to buy some more Bitcoin at a discount, right? So you should not be mad at all. However, I can understand it. I can understand. I can understand. However, again, it's a blessing. You really don't need to be upset here about the price going down. All right, so here we're looking at our first red dot on Saturday at 10 o'clock. A red diamond and red dot here. Sorry, red diamond is what I meant to say. After that pump, we came into the end of the day, came down, and then Saturday at 10 o'clock, red diamond underneath the 20 and the 200, and we just been sinking ever since. Now we have another, flat. What's going on? All right, we're back. My bad. I guess the internet is a little messed up. All right, so cool. Boom. We're looking at the Bitcoin price right now. Let me make sure you guys can see what's going on. All right, cool. Yeah, we're back. All right, cool. So as you can see here, we're under the 200. We have under the 220, and then we have this red diamond. That's Monday at 3 o'clock. Today we had another sell off, so we are selling off quite aggressively right now. However, we are up a higher wave here, so hopefully we continue to head higher, but it's not looking too good on the hour. Let's jump to the 2 hour, which is my favorite. Hit that like, share, subscribe for me while we're doing the TA. And if Bitcoin's dumping, then everything else is dumping. And because I've been working on paperwork and I've been dealing with a lot of legal stuff, I haven't been able to look at the charts, which actually sucks, right? Because you can capitalize on the down trends. Excuse me, because I'm sure all the altcoins would have are down. So I don't. don't know why I haven't been able to. Well, I know why I haven't been able to, but I don't know why you haven't been able to capitalize on the downward momentum, right? Because if Bitcoin goes down, you already know that all the altcoins go down. Bitcoin goes down 5%, also going down 10, 20, 30%. Um, Maybe that's a bit excessive, 30%, but they definitely will bleed more than Bitcoin, right? So if Bitcoin again bleeds 5%, alts will see 10, 15, 20% off bat. And we'll check out some of the percentages here in just a moment. But on the 2 hour, we're not looking good at all, and we're starting to come down more. We broke the support level here, which is at 111,000. My alert did not go off, which sucks. But we did break it, and then we came back up. Broke it again, came back up. We hit the 20 once, twice, and now we're just starting to again head down lower. 2 hour looks like we could come down lower. 4 hour, that's gonna look at that red dot here. We're gonna be possibly coming down lower. Look at this. Money flow has just been bleeding out. Here's your entry for a short if you're shorting, or if you do short. All right, so looking at a short. My bad, I keep getting text messages. Keep getting these messages, but it's all good. All right, so what I'm looking for, if you were looking for a short, then that would have been your short entry, and then you just would have wrote it all the way down because clearly we are in the red money flow. I'll go back to the hourly time frame because I was going to show you guys something here real quick. Boom. So, per usual, we have our momentum shift. And I got a call coming in. My bad, guys. All right, cool. So, looking at okay, so I was jumping into the hour. I'm trying to get into the money flow here, right? So that's what I was really trying to show you guys is the money flow with the red money flow, and it shows the best on the hourly time frame. Here we are showing money flow leaving or getting into the red here. Red money flow means sales, guys. That means money is leaving the asset. So we do have money flow here leaving. So boom, that would be your stop loss above the high, which would be here. And then your sales would be all this, right? Because we're still in the red, still in the red. It's popped up a little bit down the red. Even though we pumped here on Friday, we still have our RSI, stochastic RSI, straight headed down. And I need to change these because that's probably going to be better for the visual. Let's see if I can change that to, yeah, let's do green. Let's do red. So it looks a little crazy. All right, so red Boom. So I'm just showing you guys pretty much the money flow. We have green money flow here, start the pump, red money flow here, start to dump. Pretty simple. Red money flow here. That was perfect right here. We do that. Dump here. Look at that money flow. So that's what I'm trying to tell you. Money flow red sells. Money flow back to green again. For blue. Boom. Head and shoulders not play out on the daily as we intended, as there's probably a lot of over leverage longs, and I'm actually long right now, and I'm gonna have to close all my positions because it's not looking too good right now. I should have closed it up here, but again, I didn't get my I didn't get notified, so that sucks. But it's all good. Look at the weekly looking super bad. Oh, that's not good at all for Bitcoin. Let's take out all these. Hit the first target, which was the alien. Boom, and then we never came back up. So it's not looking too good. We can bounce here at the 20-day moving average, which is 107. So if we bounce at 107, that would be great. If we lose that, we're definitely coming down to support, which would be around. I mean, that's the support 107. If we lose 107, down to 92. Money flow is not looking good at all. Daily not looking good at all. 4 hourly not looking good at all. 2 hour not looking good at all. It's not looking good, guys. It's looking good if you're wise enough to understand that Bitcoin's on sale. But if you're trading or if you're in a trade like me getting clapped up right now, not looking good at all. However, as long as you live to trade another day, you should be a-okay. So we're gonna jump into I don't really want to look at any other coins, but we're gonna look at some other coins real quick. Matter of fact, let's look at ETH because everybody and their mom wants to talk about ETH. What's ETH looking like? That looks like a bear flag. Oh, we got double green. But the point of me saying that is the only reason why we're even looking here at ETH is because you should be trying to accumulate as much dollars as you can to convert into BTC. So we're down 12%, 10x leverage. That's 1,000, 200%, 100 into $1,200 as an example, and that was from Sunday to today. That was just from Sunday to today that you could have made 12% times 10x leverage. You know, I'll be doing 20x, 30x leverage, and so that would be much more, right? But this looks like a flag, and this could come down. If it does come down, we have our next support will be here. And like I said, I'm just showing you this because I'm like I said, if Bitcoin is down, how much percentage is Bitcoin down from the top? Bitcoin is down a lot more than that um, from the top. So that's actually, well, what do we look at? Let's just say it was from Sunday to, yeah, it was from Sunday to today. All right, so yeah, Bitcoin's down 6%, and again, like I just mentioned, we have Ethereum down 12%. So that goes to show you, and I'm sure XRP and all these other coins are down much more. That's the whole point of me saying what I said earlier, is that you can take advantage of Bitcoin dipping because you can short these other coins. Look at that 9% times 10x, that's 1,000. I'm trying to tell you guys. I'm sorry, 1,000%. Why did I say 1,000%? I meant 90% or 120. 120%. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to say that. I didn't mean to say 1,000%. It's been a long day. I misspoke. I apologize. 10x leverage, of course, times 10% for an example would be 90%, right? Boom. So you would make 90% of 100 into you would have doubled your money basically, right? Basically 100%. That's what I meant to say. My bad. 100 and so 12% is 120%. That's what I meant to say. So my bad, my bad, my bad, my bad, my bad, my bad. 20% would have doubled, 30% would have tripled. So that's what I'm trying to get at. Boom. So again, be aware of shorting these coins as your opportunity to get fiat to buy more Bitcoin. That is the goal. That should be your main goal, and that should be your overall goal here. But yeah, like I said, Bitcoin not looking too good right now. Red dot 30 minute. We were just on the five when I started. We did have a red diamond, but again, I don't know, man. Bitcoin not looking good right now. We gotta hold. We gotta hold. Red diamond. I won't be surprised if we bumped again. We're not far enough away from the 200. We have every bear is super excited right now. We would probably tap 110 before heading down lower, based on my TA. So I don't even want to look at MicroStrategy. I don't want to look at. I do not even want to look at Misty. Matter of fact, I look at Misty. I don't look at MicroStrategy at all because I don't really care. Too many people care. People are too emotionally invested into these assets. I mean, I understand with Bitcoin, obviously, right? Because Bitcoin is it's not an asset, so to say. It's more like a monetary network. Uh, it's a lot of things, right? It's freedom money. So calm down on Twitter, guys. Y'all are way too hype on Twitter. So let's jump into Coin Glass because I'm sure that will show everything that we need to know about the shorts. If I'm not mistaken, on my previous live, I said there's a lot of shorts, longs to be liquidated before we head higher, and that's exactly what happened. And I actually shared uh, almost a billion in liquidations. Whew. So I actually shared that video the other day, but let's look at the liquidation. Let's look at liquidation map. And of course, we're going to go to the 30-day and then we'll jump down to the 7-day. We still got mad longs to get clapped up, or mad shorts, I'm sorry. Shorts to get clapped at 127. We got 18 billion. So I think it'll be time for us to, head higher now that all the bears are piled in, right? And majority of that's on Binance. Almost 20. That's crazy. Cumulative short liquidation leverage, $18.7 billion in shorts to be liquidated at 127. Let's look at the longs. 2.7, 18 billion. 2.7, 18 billion. We might come down to touch 100,000 and then head right back up just to clear out all the leverage longs, which would be crazy. But hopefully we don't need to go down much lower because they've already liquidated a ton of people. So that's that. Let's look at the 7-day. 11 billion 124. We have 2 billion at 98. All right, let's go to Coin Codex real quick to show the percentages. So here you can see Bitcoin's down in the last 24 hours 3%, while ETH is down 8%. We have 9%, we have 7%, 8%, 9%, 11%, 9%. So with that being said, while my computer loads the next screen, let's jump into. Let's jump into the promissory notes and the explanation that I have for you guys. I'm actually going to pull up chat. So give me one moment here. All right, pull up my chat real quick. Now that I got my chat pulled up, I'm pretty much going to dive into a couple things here. So, re-endorsement, is that the re-endorsement? No, sign lease without recall. No, that's not it. What did I want to show you guys? I want to show you guys the explanation that I just posted online. Is that? I don't know where it's at. Let's see if we can find it. Again, if you're not utilizing ChatGPT, then I don't know what you are doing, because you're supposed to be utilizing technology to make your life better. Crying about people using it for evil is redundant and a waste of time. People utilize things how they deem fit, right? So there's always going to be stupid people that use it for stupid things. There's always going to be good people that use it for good things, right? Evil people use it for evil things. So just like a car, right? You can't be mad at the car, right? We can't be mad at chat. or AI in general when you have the same opportunity and to use it for good. If somebody's using something for bad, then why don't you shut up, stop complaining about it, and use the same thing for good to combat the bad? All right, cool. I don't really ask Google anything too much anymore. I ask Chat unless I'm just asking the legal definitions of something. But even then, I just ask Chat. Right. So boom. Or I'm looking for the where am I? Where am I? What am I looking for? The is it this one? Yes, it is. All right, cool. Found it. All right, grab your pen and paper or whatever. Don't doesn't matter to me. All right, cool. So basically, let me just this down for you. Let me make sure the title of this is what I'm going to be going over. I said the dollars are promissory note. Yes, it is. Okay, cool. I'll go over that. Cool. Boom. And then I said, what else did I say in this title to make sure I go over everything for you guys in today's video? Dollars are promises to pay and sue that ass. All right, cool. We suing that ass. Absolutely. All right. Boom, 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 boom. All right. So for those of you that don't know and want a greater explanation of things, follow Brother Isaiah and follow Ignorance Be Gone. Brother Isaiah is going to be building better minds on YouTube, and Ignorance Be Gone is on TikTok and on Instagram. And they have great educational content in regards to what I'm about to go over. But our brother Isaiah is really the one who I learned a lot of this stuff from. So shout out to brother Isaiah and shout out to God as well, because it's only because of God that I'm able to do anything that I'm doing. So boom. All right, so that's what we're going to get into. We're going to get into promissory notes are the same as dollar bills, right? So we got a couple court cases coming up, right? And in one of the court cases that we have coming up, we have tendered payment, right? And when you tender payment, what is tender payment? Tender payment is just making a payment, right? Um, and payment is through performance. Performance is payment. Payment is performance. And when you send them a draft, promissory note, or bill of exchange, all right, these things constitute as money equivalent or cash equivalents, right? Money equivalents, cash equivalents, right? Boom. So what I've been learning is that what the law says, because it's not what I say, right? I always, tell any if I get pulled over by the cops, or if I'm talking to a cop, or if I talk to anybody, right? I say, hey, it's not my opinion. This is what the law says, right? And it doesn't matter what the corporation says, their internal policies are. It doesn't matter what they say. The law overrides, and they have to follow the law, right? So if their policy is in conflict with the law, then it's void, right? The same thing with any statutes or any procedure, anything like people getting locked up for having guns. Like, how the hell are you getting locked up for having a gun when we live in a country where the Second Amendment is the right to bear arms? Like, I don't know how this is like happening. Obviously, if you commit a crime, I'm not talking about you committing a crime with a gun, because that's different from what I'm speaking about now. Having a possession of a firearm, or being in possession of a firearm, and then you being in trouble for having a firearm is two completely different things that I don't agree with at all. However, that's nor here nor there. I'm going to digress. We're going to jump into, again, drafts, bills of exchange, promissory notes, et cetera, et cetera. All right, all right, all right. So again, we're in the middle. We're going to be dealing with the loss. We're dealing with a lawsuit right now against a corporation, and they're trying to state that, their attorney or their lawyer, I would say attorney, their attorney is trying to say that, basically trying to say that a promissory note or a bill of exchange is not money, right? So it's laughable that these people are attorneys or lawyers and they don't even know the law, but they're trying to fight, and they bring up like they'll bring a case law in their favor. But I don't like to use case law, which I can use case law, but I rather use statutes at large and the law in general and common sense, along with any case law that may be verified and that I can use in my case, but or any case that I'm in. But I rather just use again the I rather use the statutes at large and laws and so. But before, so let's just jump into this right here, right? Security interests. I don't know why I said security interests. Entrance. Security interests, guys. So we're gonna talk about. It's a lot to break down, man. It's a lot, and I just try to sprinkle little gems here and there for you guys to understand, because even me learning this, it's like it's a lot to process, and I tend to make we all tend to make things harder than it is. So I just try to clarify things for you guys as I get better understanding, right? So boom, a draft or a bill of exchange or a promissory note or a check can all be drawn upon the financial asset, which is considered a negotiable instrument, which is the lease, the retail installment agreement, or loan. What is the difference between a draft and a bill of exchange when creating it on high security check paper and utilizing the document of title, which is again the financial asset, which is again the lease, retail installment agreement, or the loan, right? Because those are all, that is the bill of lading. These terms are like there's so many terms for the same thing. It's crazy, right? Documented title is the same thing. The financial asset is the same thing, and the bill of lading is the same thing. The same thing. What is that, Chris? The same thing is it's all considered the lease, your installment agreement, or your loan. Those are all documents of titles. Those are all financial assets. Those are all bills of lading. Right. And so I asked because again, I'm listening to Isaiah. Isaiah's breaking things down. He's like, yo, all you really need to do is provide a negotiable instrument that's going to be, once you get approved for a loan, basically, you're able to utilize that contract or that asset, which is the financial asset, which is the document of title. And you can then draw upon the asset to settle the obligation. But you would need to do it on high security check paper or again a draft bill of exchange or a check, right? So because I was like, yo, it makes so much sense. But again, I have to listen to things a bunch of times. I have to read, I have to learn, I have to, I have to get it in my mind, right? Just hearing it, and I have to read, right? And I have to learn for myself. Just hearing somebody say something is not going to shouldn't substantiate, even though he's right, even though I may be right, even though I may be wrong, or he may be wrong or right, it doesn't matter. You should always do your own due diligence and look it up for yourself. So that's what I'm telling you guys to do. Don't even take what I'm giving you at face value. Look it up for yourself so that way you can see exactly for yourself what's going on and if what I'm talking about is correct, right? So we got here asking ChatGPT what's going on, right? ChatGPT said, "Excellent. You've locked into the core of commercial paper law." So let me clarify. This is a step by step, backed by the UCC, Florida Statutes, Commercial Code. All instruments can be drawn upon the financial asset. The instrument is the check right here, right? Bills of exchange, promissory note, or a draft. The lease, installment, and contract, your loan agreement are all negotiable instruments. It's exactly what I just explained to you, but it's going to break it down a little bit more here in the actual context of things, thanks to ChatGPT and artificial intelligence. So UCC 3-104, which in Florida is Florida Statute 673.1041, an unconditional promise slash order to pay a fixed sum. So those are called negotiable instruments. These are also documents of title slash financial assets under 12 CFR 70709.9. right? Boom. Therefore, you can draw against them by issuing a draft, bill of exchange, promissory note, or a check. All these are lawful tender if you're referencing the underlying negotiable instrument, which is again the lease, loan, or the contract, as the source of value, because the asset itself is the source of value. So drafts, bills of exchange. I asked it what's the difference between the bills of exchange and the draft. A draft is a negotiable instrument that is an order to pay, always an order. You, the drawer, ordering a drawee to pay. Includes checks. A check drawn on the bank, for example, is a draft. A bill of exchange is synonymous with a draft, and in common law and international practice, a formalized draft used between two parties, especially in commerce, recognized as a draft not drawn on the bank, instead drawn on an obligation, a state or document of title. So I had to pause there because look, it's not drawn on a bank. You're not drawing or creating a negotiable instrument that draws from the bank, guys. You're using it and you're drawing from the source of the obligation or source of the value, which is the obligation, which is the lease, loan, or contract. So you're going to draw from the value because the value was there because you signed it. So because you signed it and gave it, you gave it life, basically. You're the one who created the asset, created the contract. Without your signature, there is no contract. You can't get a car without signing for it. You can't get a house without signing for it. Can't get a new phone without signing for it. You can't go get a gym membership without signing for it. There's power in your signature. So when you understand that, then you understand what I'm talking about. Boom. Let's continue. So it's not drawn on the bank. It's drawn on the obligation or the estate, which is your legal fiction, or the document of title. Obligation, documented title, or the estate. Example, a bill of exchange drawn on a lease agreement as the drawee. So it would draw from the lease agreement to settle the obligation. Draft is a general category. Bill of exchange is a specific type of draft, which is usually drawn on an obligation or account, not a bank. A bill of exchange is usually drawn on an obligation or an account, not a bank. So for you guys that are saying that this isn't real or whatever the case may be, or you're scared to make negotiable instruments, if why are you scared to make negotiable instruments when we have the right to contract and to create credit? You actually they just hand you the same instruments just in different forms. You sign a promise to pay when you get a car. You sign a promise to pay when you get a house. You sign a promise to pay when you get a lease. You sign a promise to pay when you get a phone contract. You They give you the same thing. So if a corporation can create these things, and a corporation is not even a real, it's not even real. It's a person. Legal definition: person is a corporation, right? So if a dead corporation can create a promissory note, then you should be able to, and you are able to actually do the same thing. Boom. In practice, the UCC in practice, the terms are used interchangeably, but the BOE is more formal, private, and often tied to a document of title. Again, document of title is going to be your lease, loan, contract, which has value and then you take your instrument, which is the draft, which is you can do a check from your checking account. Check for with your checking and routing account number, but you have to specify that you're not drawing on the check, drawing from the bank account, you're drawing from the obligation or the underlying asset, financial asset, which is lease, loan, or contract. You have the promissory note. You can create the bill of exchange. You create the draft. Excuse me. Promissory note. A promissory note means a promise to pay money. But that's the thing that we don't get. There is no money. We're gonna dive into that in just a second. Promissory note equals promise to pay, not an order to pay a sum. Lease loan contracts are themselves promissory notes once signed, can be endorsed, assigned, or tendered back for discharge. You can endorse it correctly, you can assign it, or you can tender it back for discharge. Check. A check is a draft payable on demand drawn on a bank, right? So you can use a check, but again, we're going to dive into why you're not using your account because, again, as I just mentioned, you're drawing from the value of the negotiable instrument instead of your bank account. So we'll dive into that in just a second. Using the document of title. So I just went over this for you, just breaking it down, trying to simplify this as much as I can for you. Because again, if you can get this, then it's really, and you can, if you have the balls to, try this stuff or to create your own instruments or to utilize your actual rights, then again, you're not going to be enslaved to the enslaved, right? Because they have us thinking that they have us enslaved by debt. When every debt creates a credit and every credit creates a debt, it's called GAAP. Went over this in a video previously. Cool. UCC 1-201-16, document of title, evidence of a, oh my God, Bitcoin is dipping. Is that Bitcoin dipping? Yeah, it is dipping right now. I gotta close these down. I gotta close these trades. And Bitcoin is a hold here, cuz. We coming down, cuz. Yo, I'm about to spaz out because there's people in this office acting crazy. Yeah, they ain't got no manners. Give me 1 second, guys. Let me check these people real quick. All right, cool. Bet. 12 CFR 709.9 contract slash instrument financial asset. The contract that you sign or the instrument is the financial asset by attaching the lease loan as a document of title. By attaching the lease or the loan as a document of title, you are establishing that your instrument, which is the check, you establish that your check, draft, bill of exchange is drawn against the value of that asset, not against a deposit account, which is your bank account, right? In shipping, this is the same in shipping. It's the same principle as a bill of lading. Whoever holds it controls the title to the goods and contract leases. Whoever holds the signed lease controls the obligation. Now, I do want to ask a question in regards to that because I do know that they hold the lease and we hold the lease, but our title is greater because what? Yes, that in just a moment. Boom. High security check paper. High security check paper. You can lawfully create a check draft on a bank with restrictions. A bill of exchange draft on the lease slash loan itself. Promissory note, your promise secured by the lease or the loan obligation. On high security check paper makes it recognizable and professional for processing by attaching an allonge referencing the lease slash loan. You unify the instrument with its source of value. So check with restrictions plus allonge, best for speed, easier for leasing accounting for leasing and slash accounting to process. Bill of exchange drawn on the lease, loan as draw E, stronger for private law, trust enforcement, explicitly shows settlement from the financial asset. Promissory note, if you want to pledge slash assign your promise as a payment. Draft is generic form. It could be either bank based or obligation based. In all cases, you may lawfully draw upon the law, draw against upon the negotiable instrument, which is the lease or the loan itself, because your signature created it as a financial asset. Boom. I said, what does security interest have to do with this entire agreement? And how does that play into the aforementioned, right? I said, powerful question. You spotted the hinge point. Security interest is the hidden engine in every single lease, retail, installment agreement, and loan. So let's break this down step by step. Boom. What is the security interest? Security interest means interest in personal property or fixtures which secures payment or performance of an obligation. That means when you sign a lease or loan, the retail installment agreement, your signature itself creates security that the creditor uses as collateral. So they use the collateral, right? They use it as collateral. How it attaches to your agreement. A security interest is enforceable against the debtor when the value has been given. The debtor has the right in the collateral and their security agreement describing the collateral. Security agreement would be like your actual lease or loan. If your lease slash loan, you gave the value, your signature equals the negotiable instrument. Collateral means the lease obligation, the property, or even your estate identifiers, or even the car. Obviously, if you're getting a car, if you're getting a loan, and then the agreement itself doubles as the security agreement as well, like I just said. So the lease and loan is not just a contract; it's also a security instrument that's booked as a financial asset. Why it matters to tender? Because the agreement itself is a financial asset with a built-in security interest. You can lawfully draw a check upon the agreement itself against that same agreement. You can use the lease as a document of title and the source of value. You can assert that you are the creditor issuer since you created the obligation with your signature, right? Account means in a right, account equals right to payment of monetary obligation. I already told you guys this as well. An account holder means they treat you as an account holder, which is why you have to pay instead of an account owner, which is if you're owning an account, that means the account has a right to payment. The lease slash loan is literally the account, right? And the account means a right to payment. Collateral includes any property subject to a security interest. The lease itself secures its own payment. Security interest equals secure self-securing instrument. When you sign, you created the instrument and the collateral. Under GAAP double entry, double bookkeeping entry, your obligation debt equals their asset credit. Your promissory note bill of exchange simply applies the collateral back to itself. You can utilize the security interest to settle the obligation back to itself. That's why attaching the lease, which is your document of title or the financial asset, to your check or bill of exchange is so powerful because it proves that you're tendering from the very security that created the obligation. It prevents them from claiming it's fraudulent because the lease slash security interest backs it. So chess move, right? Because we like to move in chess moves, right? The lease slash loan slash contract equals security plus collateral, your tender of payment, which is your check, bill of exchange or promissory note. Payment is drawn from the same security. They can't deny it because tender of payment discharges the obligation. Contracts must be enforced. They cannot impair your settlement, impair your lawful method of settlement. and then no law impairing obligations of contracts. Boom, the security interest built into your lease or your loan means that the agreement itself is self-securing and that your check, draft, bill of exchange, or promissory note can be drawn upon it as the source of value. You're simply circulating the security back to itself. Boom. What to say to a lawyer slash judge, as most don't understand in plain English. We're not going to go over that because I asked it about 3 times. The same thing in regards to into that, but I guess I could jump into a little bit. Uh, I'm gonna do. I want you guys to read this one instead. The opposing party has so in the lawsuit, the opposing party responded back with a bunch of gibberish, right? And thank God, and it was like 5 pages of straight gibberish, right? Saying that promissory notes are not cash or and all this extra stupid stuff, right? That the average person would not be able to comprehend because they're using legalese and a bunch of extra unnecessary jargon, right? And then finding case law from wherever to justify their claims, right? Boom. So I said, yes, the opposing party may say and has said that a promissory note isn't cash equivalent, but it is, and how there's no lawful money, only notes, drafts, bills of exchange, etc. to settle obligations. A Federal Reserve note, aka dollar, is the same thing as a promissory note, bill of exchange, draft per the law and the UCC and statutes at large. Correct? And expound on the facts of law in regards to performance, aka payment, and as nobody can demand payment in a specific species. You landed on the foundation of modern commerce. There is no lawful money in its circulation because there's only negotiable instruments. The whole system runs on performance. Tender, discharge, not specie. Let's lock this down. Boom. In 1933, they took away the gold and silver. Therefore, there's no lawful money. There's only notes, drafts, and credits. Federal Reserve notes are just paper promises, no different in substance than a promissory note, bill of exchange, or a draft. And those Federal Reserve notes shall be obligations of the United States and redeemed in lawful money. So Federal Reserve notes are obligations, not payment. They're negotiable debt instruments. So Florida instruments equals payment. So we go into that here. A draft note, cashier's check suspends the underlying obligation. But when cash equivalency, a promissory note is not cash, but under law, it's cash equivalent when tendered. Black's Law Dictionary, 11th edition, cash equivalent. Any negotiable instrument readily convertible into cash. And all they do is they just take the note to the discount window or their bank. Banks are depository institutions that accept promissory notes all the time because they can't say that they don't accept promissory notes. The bank literally can't say that they don't accept promissory notes. You literally sign a promissory note when you get a loan, when you get a house, when you get a car. So for them to say that it's not money is contradictory and a slap in your face if you're not intelligent enough to understand what they're saying to you. And I'm trying to break it down to you. I'm trying to tell you. I'm trying to break it down, girl. I'm trying to break it down, girl. Don't listen up. So how you gonna tell me? How you gonna tell me that a promissory note is not cash equivalent, but that's cash equivalent, right? Um, but when I get a loan, when I get a house, when I get a car, you make me sign a promissory note. Make it make sense. Don't let them play on your intelligence, right? So they're all cash equivalents because each circulates as payment. If the lawyer says promissory note isn't cash, the answer is neither is a dollar bill, it's a note. They're both promises and they both discharge obligations under the same law, right? And I already showed you guys in another video, but we'll go back here again. We'll go to the dollar bill and go to images. It literally says note on your bill, and you guys are over here We don't even notice this stuff. Remember, I posted in Walmart. I was in Walmart the other day. No, bro, I'm trying to see the picture. What y'all doing? I was in Walmart the other day, and in Walmart they have the machine, and it says notes. I wonder if you can put in a promissory note. That'd be crazy. You can put in a promissory note, and that bit can settle the obligation at a store. That'd be crazy. That'd be crazy. All right. Anyways, look at this. It says Federal Reserve note. It literally says note on it, right? Federal Reserve note. No, 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 no. We gotta start paying attention to details. Nobody can demand specific species. Let's see here. Nobody can demand gold or silver or cash only. Um, Performance equals tender of lawful instrument, not cash in a species. So, boom. Your Honor, the opposing counsel claims a promissory note isn't payment, but under the UCC and Florida statute, all negotiable instruments, including notes, drafts, bills of exchange, and even Federal Reserve notes, are debt obligations, not specie, right? Boom. And in federal law since 1933, when we were moved off the gold standard and they took away the gold and silver, there is no lawful money in circulation. A Federal Reserve note is just another form of a promissory note. It literally says note across the top of it. So how are you going to tell me that you don't accept a promissory note, but a promissory note and a Federal Reserve note is the same thing? It's a promise to pay. Literally a promise to pay. Under the UCC 3-603, when I tender a promissory note, bill of exchange, or check, the obligation is discharged. Under UCC 3-310, tender suspends the debt upon acceptance, the debt is settled. In simple terms, a dollar bill, a promissory note, a bill of exchange are all the same under law, and each is a promise to pay. Each is legal tender when presented. No one can demand cash in a specific special form because cash itself is just a note. The law requires only lawful performance, not particular species. Boom. And I said, hey, and if the tender payment is not lawfully refused, um, the obligation is discharged because it kept saying up here that it said that it only here it is right here. It said here that it just suspends the underlying obligation until it is dishonored. And so I was like, yep, okay. And so just to verify, so when an obligation is not lawfully refused, the obligation is discharged, which means they can't say they don't accept this type of payment when they accept negotiable instruments or promissory notes, such as the Federal Reserve note, because they are the same thing. And exactly right. Boom. If tender or payment of an obligation to pay an instrument is made and refused, the obligation is discharged to the extent of the amount of the tender. Once you tender a lawful instrument, the obligation is discharged by law, whether they like it or not. Every state has their own UCC. This is Florida UCC. It's in your statute for your state. Look it up. They already accept promissory notes. Federal Reserve note is a promissory note. Federal Reserve notes are literally promissory notes, debt instruments issued by the Federal Reserve. So if they claim we don't accept promissory notes, the rebuttal is every dollar is a promissory note. You accept them daily, and by law, you cannot accept one kind of Federal Reserve note and then reject another lawful negotiable instrument because they're the same. But again, if you don't know this, they're going to play on your intelligence. They're going to try you. They're going to say, we don't accept this type of payment, all this extra stuff. And that's why you got to sue them. And that goes into the next part of this chat, which is sue that ass. Hit that like, share, subscribe. Hit that like, share, subscribe. We're almost done here. Boom, boom, boom. Your Honor, the law is clear. When I tender payment by negotiable instrument, whether that's a check, a promissory note, bill of exchange, the obligation is discharged. A Federal Reserve note itself is a promissory note. It says note across the top. They cannot lawfully accept one form of promissory note, a dollar bill, and then reject another, a promissory note or a bill of exchange. The law only requires lawful tender, not a specific species, because since 1933, there's been no lawful money since they took away the gold and silver. All payments are performance by negotiable instrument. Once I tender the payment, the debt is settled. Refusal to accept is dishonor. So I said, now break down with examples, including all Florida UCCs and statutes at large. Right? What is money after 1933? From that day forward, only notes, drafts, checks, and bills of exchange circulate as quote unquote money. Federal Reserve notes are obligations. I only use not money. A Federal Reserve note is literally a promise to pay. It's a promissory note. It's a debt obligation, not money. Those are your Florida statutes. Those are your regular UCC codes, application, boom, boom, boom. The promissory note is not cash. The judge or lawyer says that. So if a judge or lawyer says that, then then you hit them with both. Neither is a dollar bill, right? A promissory note is not cash. Well, guess what? A dollar bill is not cash either. Right? You've been told that it's cash. You think it's cash because you don't learn, you don't read, you don't study. We've been indoctrinated. We call it cash, but it's not really cash um, because everything's a promise to pay, technically. If you want to get technical, then we going to get technical, right? So neither is the dollar bill. By law, a Federal Reserve note and a promissory note are debt instruments. Since 1933, there's been no lawful money, only notes, drafts, bills of exchange. So when I tender a promissory note and bill of exchange backed by the lease, which itself is a negotiable instrument under 673 10.41, that is lawful payment. The law does not allow anyone to demand a specific species because the specific species, which was gold and silver, was abolished in 1933. All we have are negotiable instruments, and the law treats them equally. So, boom, a check is not money. It's an order to pay, yet if the landlord accepts checks, the rent is paid. A BOE and promissory note works the same way. A lease is like a receipt for the rent owed. If I return the receipt with the payment of instrument, then the account is settled. Boom, and then I wanted to ask this question here. Whoever holds the lease obligation. So whoever holds the lease, they hold the lease, and we are the hold the lease, and our time is greater because why? Boom, let me get into that. So obviously, right? Just so the reason, let me break down the question, right? Because it said earlier, whoever holds the lease agreement controls the obligation, and that made me automatically think, okay, they hold the obligation, they hold the lease. I also hold the lease because they have to give you a copy of the lease, right? Boom, boom, boom. So you have a copy of the lease, and then you have the lease. They have the lease, you have a lease, right? So I was like, why do they have a lease? Why do we have a greater title? I know why, because we created it. We're the issuer, we are the creditor of it, and without our signature, then guess what? There is no agreement, right, or contract. So boom, that's what I know. And so it says here, the landlord holds a copy of the signed lease because they issued it for their records. Their claim is only as the beneficiary. Their claim is the beneficiary of the rents. They book it on their side of accounting as an accounts receivable, asset to them, liability to the tenant. They have possession for benefit, not for ownership. You hold lease as the issuer slash creator, right? And then holder in due course versus the beneficiary. The party who takes the instrument for value in good faith and without notice of claims or defenses has the strongest right. While your title is greater, you are the issuer slash creator. Without your signature, there's no lease or financial asset. I literally just said that. Boom. You hold equitable title as the beneficial owner. The holder of the instrument is the one entitled to enforce it. If you hold it, then you can enforce it. Um, if I write a check and give it to someone, they can hold it. but the one who signed the check is the true owner of the value. The check has no power without my signature. Boom. And then I wanted to ask something while it was GAAP. I have a right to rent. I have the right to. Who owns the lease? Who owns the lease? The legal fiction holds a legal title. The lease is written in all caps name. Boom. That's the legal person's name, right? Y'all don't understand that you are not the legal person. You are a living man. You have to understand this as well, guys. There's an American and there's a United States citizen. There's two different people. That you're two like it's crazy that we're at this age and we don't even know a fraction of this shit. Because I thought the United States was the same as the United States of America. It's not. The United States is a corporation which overlays over the United States of America. So you have to understand that there's a difference between being an American and United States citizen. And until you can get that, until you understand that your name in all caps is the United States citizen. You don't want to be a United States citizen. You can use the United States citizen, but you, as the living man, you're separate from the all caps. That's why I keep. That's why I told you guys a while ago that you have to understand that your all caps name, which is what they put on lawsuits, your bills, even your ID. If you pull out your ID right now, you go pull out your bills right now. Everything's in all caps. So that is your legal fiction, which was given to you at birth, because the United States is a corporation. And in order for you to operate and to operate in commerce with other corporations, you need to be a corporation. I hope that makes sense. By default, the landlord believes that the entity is the tenant liable for the rent. You, the living man, hold beneficial title. You created and signed the lease on behalf of the legal fiction, and you are the issuer of the instrument. The signer is the issuer. The issuer is the true creditor because without your signature, there is no contract of value that makes you the beneficial owner, the one who has equitable rights to the financial asset, which is the lease or the loan. The trust also holds beneficial title. That's why I tell you guys to get your trust because you're supposed to operate in trust. That's one of the easiest ways for you to separate yourself or to operate in agency. You have to be the agent for your legal fiction. Isaiah says it the best. If you're not the agent for your legal fiction, then they're the agent for the legal fiction. And they as in the corporation, as in your apartment complex, as in your bank, who you got your loan from. So once you understand that, then you can start to move accordingly. That's why I keep telling you guys the trust is very important. And probably, like I said, the easiest way to set up agency, or you can do a DBA. So you can separate yourself from your name because even though the name is in all caps and your regular name is spelled properly, uppercase C, lowercase everything else, uppercase K, lowercase everything else, then it's technically the same, but it's not the same. So you just want to create separation. And by doing that, it's easiest through, again, a trust. So if you convey the legal fiction in its contracts to your private trust, then the trust becomes the holder of the beneficial ownership and the lease and the rents. Trustee has the power to collect trust property and debts due to the trust. A trustee slash agent, you enforce those rights. Why? You have rights to rent. The holder of the instrument is the one entitled to enforce it. Tender, discharge the obligation, meaning if you tender, you control the settlement of the rents. Beneficial ownership carries the right to the fruits of the property, rents, interest, and credits. Since you're the beneficial owner of the legal fiction or trust is the owner, you have a right to claim and direct the rents. Or if you have a house, those mortgage payments should be coming back to you. Bank may hold legal title of the to the car until it's paid off, but the beneficial owner, the the traveler, we don't use driver, the traveler who signed the loan enjoys full uses of the car. Same here. Landlord may hold the lease document, but you as the issue beneficial owner enjoy the equitable rights, including discharge and set off. Landlord equals creditor on paper. You, creditor in substance. Trust, beneficial holder. Because you control the fiction, trust, you ultimately control the rents and discharge of the obligation. So, yes, you have the rights to rents as the beneficial owner of the legal fiction if it's conveyed to the trust. Also, if it's conveyed, the trust also has beneficial ownership. The landlord only has a derivative claim through your signature. You hold superior equitable rights to the rents because you created the lease financial asset. You control the legal fiction, which holds the legal title. Boom. So I say all that to say, look it up for yourself. It's a lot that I was looking into, but again, I was trying to get a more of a clear a more of a understanding as far as how you're able to utilize an instrument such as a bill of exchange, promissory note, or a promissory note, check, draft, money order to pretty much settle your obligation, right? Because you got to endorse it the right way and all this stuff, right? You got to attach, right? It's called a allonge. You can attach an allonge, right? And then you gotta know that these people in the front, like y'all be trying to argue. Like I'm not about to be arguing with nobody in the front office, bro. Like I don't argue with these people at the banks. These people at the banks don't know what they're talking about. These people that are bank tellers don't know nothing about money. They don't know nothing about credit. So don't be arguing with these people, right? Because I said, yo, we gotta instruct them. We gotta like when I said because I'm about to give this. I'm everything that I'm telling you guys that I've been reading or researching and everything that I'm showing you guys. I'm actually doing it. I have proof that I'm doing it. So it is what it is. But I'm not going to be going back and forth with the leasing agent up front, bro. I'm going to send it to your legal team, send it to the accounting department, and they know what to do with it because we don't need you argue. I don't need to be arguing with him, right? I don't need to be arguing with anybody, right? That's not going to get you anywhere. Say, hey, this is what I have. Um, Send it to your legal team. And there's more than one way that you can settle obligations. So I don't want to really dive too much into some of this because it's going to go over your head. I just wanted to go into pretty much how you can utilize an instrument to pay off your debt without having to pay it with Federal Reserve notes. If you're paying attention to what I'm telling you, I'm showing you and telling you how you can look up this information and how you can utilize this information to create a negotiable instrument or create a check attached to your lease agreement or contract loan or the retail installment agreement for your car and utilize that as the source of value to settle your obligation without having to come out of pocket and paying and being a slave. Because if you can do this, again, this will change your life. And boom. So again, I said for the check, I can attach an allonge in conjunction with the writing on the check that states it's drawn upon the negotiable instrument, aka lease agreement. And it's and chat said, yeah, checkmate. Boom. Attaching an allonge is not only lawful, but it makes it airtight. Because if I'm going to give them a check, which I am, I'm going to write on the check, it is not to be drawn upon the bank account. It is to be drawn upon the underlying negotiable instrument identified as a lease or document of title, comma, document of title, comma, financial asset, pursuant to 12 CFR 709. Not pursuant to what Chris Knight said or Bitcoin Chris or what Isaiah said, pursuant to the law. The law says this. This instrument is not drawn upon or intended to be processed against any bank account, but against the lease agreement or insert mortgage contract, mortgage agreement, whatever, retail installment agreement contract, whatever. If you're at a gym membership agreement, phone service agreement, insert whatever agreement here. It is as collateral itself, but against the agreement itself as collateral security and the source of value. Endorsement and acceptance of this instrument constitute full satisfaction of the obligation. Write it on the face of the check, not from bank account. Attach the allonge, also stating not to be drawn upon the bank account, but against the agreement itself as the collateral security. You take pictures of these things. You do what you got to do. You send it off certified mail. You let them do what they do, right? They're probably going to. I mean, if you're, in my opinion, if you're able to comprehend and do this correctly, then you shouldn't really have any pushback because it's the law, right? One and two, their legal team should know exactly what to do. And three, if they don't, then you do what? You sue that ass, right? Because a lot of people don't know how to sue. And that's why I have the course, Sue and Defend Like a Pro. Or you can hire us to sue for you, right? Unless you just want to be a slave, cuz. If you just want to be a slave, then that's up to you, man. I don't got time to be dealing with y'all slaves, man. Sue and Defend Like a Pro. This is a course where I went over, or I broke down, and I pretty much show you how to sue or defend. Right. You don't need a lawyer to sue. It's actually easier to sue without a lawyer. These lawyers think they know everything. They don't. These lawyers think they can bully you. They can't unless you don't know your rights. Debt collectors try to pretty much railroad you because you don't know your rights. And you're speaking to someone that actually files lawsuits and technically I haven't won a lawsuit because they want to settle out of court. They don't want to take it all the way there. So I've already won. I've technically won, but not on record because they don't want it to be on record. There's a reason why they don't want it to be on record because they don't want you guys to know or people to find out what's really going on. Because if you start to know better, then hopefully you do better. So yeah, the modules is step by step, pretty deep, pretty depth, in depth modules, and I'm proud to say that I created it, and it's only $296, so cheaper than any attorney or lawyer that you can ever hire. Um, but you're gonna have to take the time. You're either gonna pay in time or you're gonna pay with money, right? So I show you how to use AI to help you draft your documents, step by step filing. We show you pretty much everything step by step. So if you want to sue or learn how to sue or anything like that, then I'm telling you now, you just click the link in my link tree, and then you click on that sue and defend like a pro. excuse me, and then you can go ahead and get that there. Or you can join the private member association where you can join and we can help you with your credit or help you with suing it or defending like a pro or trust setup, right? Because everything that I learned, I try to make sure that I give that offer and that service to you guys. So that's the whole point of this actual video is to, again, not only show you, because I've gotten on here and I don't have any of my negotiable instruments on me right now. But I've actually gone on here before and showed you guys negotiable instruments. If you guys weren't paying attention, then that's fine. But you know, I've definitely shown you guys the negotiable instruments previously in other videos, even though they're not up now. Actually, I might have some on my IG. I don't know. I might have taken them down because I don't. It's it's not private information, but it's kind of private information. But I've already showed you guys bills of exchanges. I already showed you guys promissory notes and a couple lives before. I've also showed you guys. Oh, I changed my thing to official Bitcoin Chris now. Not wow, time's flying by. Nee, I'm not logged in. All right, let me pull it up here. Then. And then I'm about to be off here. Boom, boom, boom. Can I get the camera back? Where my camera at? Boom, camera back. I turn the camera around. We're gonna do on mirror, and then I'll just show you guys something before this phone dies. And I'll make this one bigger. All right, cool. It's a bill of exchange for deposit only. 35,481 for the retail installment agreement. Drawn upon a retail installment agreement for discharge, and that's going to who? JP Morgan Chase. Right? So that was mailed out. That was mailed out today. That was mailed out oi. But I'm in a process, it's a process for all this stuff. But again, um, we just want to make sure that you're doing what you got to do. I'm about to wrap up this call. Shout out to everybody that's tuned in. Hit that like, share, subscribe. I hope you learned something. Please go look up the codes. Go look up the CFR that I mentioned. Go look up what a promissory note, bill of exchange, draft, check, money order, all that good stuff, right? Especially the UCC in your state. Definitely look those things up because if you don't, then you're not going to learn, right? So you got to learn by reading, by asking ChatGPT, by looking it up yourself, by reading, right? Comprehending, reading it until you actually comprehend it, asking Google, asking Chat, asking Google, verify, cross reference, all that good stuff, right? Again, listen to Brother Isaiah online. His name is it's under Building Better Minds on YouTube. So I highly recommend you go watch him, listen to him. But I say that to say this, that you can definitely, once you start to understand these things, you can definitely start to realize that we've been enslaved for far too long, and that the Bitcoin rabbit hole has opened up not only the the world, or opened up the knowledge base to economics and money and all that stuff, but it also got me into this type of stuff too, is because you should know as much as I know that deep down inside the system is not right. We already knew that something wasn't right, right? There's no way that they can print money out of thin air and keep us in debt and bondage. um but there is a way out, right? By utilizing these notes and these and these securities and the security interest and the collateral of the security interest, and reading your contracts, like I've showed you guys months ago in regards to the credit card that I have with Navy Federal, where it says you give us a security interest, and we just read about the security interest and how to, say, nah, bro, I want my security interest back. If I gave it to you, I can take it back. Especially since you didn't disclose everything. They don't even tell. This is the thing. Like, all these contracts are fraud because they don't even tell us nothing. They don't even tell us what's going on. So everything is really like, it's like, yo, yeah, y'all committing fraud all the way across the board. So with that being said, make sure you click that link in the bio so you can actually tap in or send me a DM. Again, we're still helping people with their credit, business credit. If you want to um, discharge some debts, or if you want to learn how to get some negotiable instruments going and try start studying, start learning, I would highly recommend you study and learn first before you start doing anything. But you're also able to you can discharge debts once you start figuring out what's going on, right? If you can tender a check based, it's, you take your negotiable instrument, which is your check or money order or promissory note, and then what you would do is you would then attach your retail installment agreement, loan, or lease to it, and then you again give instructions, meet your allonge, give instructions, make sure you do everything on your end, and then you just settle the obligation, guys. Because if your promissory note and your dollar bills are the same thing, then why are you going to work and slaving for a dollar bill when the promissory note, which is a promise to pay, which is just a piece of paper that you write with your signature, is the money? Then why the hell would you go to work and slave? Obviously, you want to work to contribute to society. I'm not saying not to do that, but I'm saying for you to slave and to be struggling out here when when you can uh when you can actually do other things to settle your obligation, without having to slave at a 9 to 5 job, at a job that you hate. Then why would you not do that? Why would you not utilize business credit and loans and all this stuff to accumulate real money or hard money such as Bitcoin, when you can do it with utilizing depreciating assets such as the dollar bill, fiat currency, which is going to die? Come on now, guys. High level thinking, man. A lot of people are just not going to get it, but it is what it is. I'm not here to help you get it. I'm not here to walk you through anything. I'm here to pretty much break down um, the opportunity at hand, right? So once you start to learn what's going on, uh, you can actually change your life, because it's really life changing. So with that being said, this is Bitcoin Chris checking out. I hope you guys have a great day, great night, great evening. Hit that like, share, subscribe for me. If you need help, click the link in the bio or send me a DM. We are suing everybody. So you're the lawsuit. We are going to sue that ass if you violate our rights. I don't care if you're a judge. I don't care if you're a lawyer. I don't care if you're a bank. I don't care if you're a notary. I'm suing all these people. I'm suing the dealership. I'm suing a notary. I'm suing the banks. I'm suing the credit agencies. I'm suing debt collectors. I'm suing any and everybody that wants to violate my rights, because they've been violating our rights for so long that we think it's okay. But if you violate the rights, or you violate a law, you do something wrong, they're quick to sue you and to take you to court. But you don't want to do the same. Keep that same energy, okay? Stop being a little B word. Try not to cuss. Grow some balls, some cojones, and do what you got to do. And hold them to their fraud, hold them to their violations, and make them pay. Because if you violate, they're going to make you pay. Keep that same energy. Bitcoin Chris checking out. Head over to swanbitcoin.com/Bitcoin Chris. Get $10 free Bitcoin. Get that fold card. The link is in the bio. Check out my music. Ton of new music that's out now. Click the link in the bio. And follow me on all social media platforms if you have not yet. I'm on Facebook, Twitter, IG, YouTube, SoundCloud. I'm not on Snapchat at all. Or I used to be. I'm just not on there anymore. And with that being said, Bitcoin Chris checking out. Bitcoin Chris checking out. Let's just look at Bitcoin before we sign out. Okay, we bounced. Oh man, it's not looking good though. It just still look like man. And the 1 hour we look pretty far away. Not too far away. I guess we're. If we come down, I'm gonna tell y'all what we're gonna come down to before I get up out of here. 106 target. We put on my. Hey, look at that. 106. If we, this is our range. We should reverse here. If we do not hold here, then we're gonna come down. We don't hold 107 minutes. Put this word up. It's hard to see my bad. Can y'all hear me now? Yeah, cool. Boom. All right, so let me just do this real quick. If we lose 107, guys, it's going to be 107. We're going to come down to 105. And we might come down lower, especially if there's a bunch of leverage longs. Let's look at the 15-minute. How many legs we had down? 1, 2. Yeah, we got one more leg down. That's your first leg. I guess that could be your first leg, second leg, third leg. All right, we should bounce here. Look at that, higher. Okay, we might be in the clear, guys. Okay, boom. Hopefully, we do not. Okay, let me do one last thing, and then I'm outie, All right, let's do some fibs. Let's do some Fibonacci's. That would be, I would say, your target would probably be 200-day moving average, 113. But let's see what the fibs got to say about it. I'm gonna take from the high to the low. Oh, look at that. Actually, up here. First target, 112. Second target, 114 area. Boom. First target here. Let me put these emojis here. First target here. Second target is going to be here. Move this over a little bit. All right. Put your little lower level down here. Boom. We're going to do.
And then our last one is going to be bloody murder, bloody. All right. You guys have the levels. I keep giving y'all levels. Y'all don't listen. So we shall see. With that being said, Bitcoin Chris checking out. Y'all have a great day. God loves you. I love you. Take care. Peace.
Yeah, I'm stacking them, yeah, yeah.
Riding with country bass, country bass.
Yeah, I'm stacking them, yeah, yeah.
Riding with country bass, country bass.
Yeah, I'm stacking them,